Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Q&A video for The Walking Dead Season 6. We're going to be talking about this guy, and whether or not I still feel like he's pretty much one of the safest characters in the show. Okay, so the trolls were bugging. Does he say the same thing every time? I pretty much do say the same intro basically every time, and it's I could change it. Let me know what you guys think right in the comments below. Is it too late? I feel like it's too late. I mean, I'm coming up on 2,000 videos in the channel, and most of them I say the exact same thing. I'd have to look back to the very first few, but it's pretty much always the same. So I don't think I'm going to change it now. It's like. Can you change it now? No, I don't think so. So this is kind of a question I thought we'd touch on and kind of give my updated thoughts on after seeing the trailer. A lot of people were asking. It's one of the more common Q&A questions I get, so we'll get into some of your Q&A questions, all focused on Daryl. But I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts on it because I do think it's a good question since they kind of focus on it at the end of the trailer. And I do think that's an interesting question with regards to The Walking Dead is kind of the future outlook for Daryl, what they're going to do with him, if they're going to keep him on permanently, just like all the way through the series, or if they feel like, or if fans feel like eventually maybe fans will get tired of seeing the crossbow, they'll get tired of him, kind of doing the same old thing unless they take him in a new direction and do something fun with him. So I'm going to give my thoughts. So for the question that inspired this was from John Andrews. So thank you, John. This is a great question. He says, "Hey, Trev, do you still think that Daryl will make it through Season 6? So the answer to that, for me anyway, is yeah, I do still feel like he's one of the safest characters in the show out of everybody, because even though, it can get a little repetitive that he's, always killing zombies with, with the crossbow and all that, they could mix it up. They could change it, right? It doesn't always have to be the same way that he's always, using the crossbow killing zombies. They could give him some different, maybe have his crossbow break or something. We did see him snap one of the bolts there. What was that, a few seasons ago? Was that Season 4? I think that was Season 4. Yeah, that was a while ago now. So, going into Season 6, I think it makes a lot of sense we could see him, switch weapons or something. So we'll have to see what they choose to do. But with regards to the kind of the long-term feel of it, do you guys write your comments below? What do you think about this? How do you see this? Do you think that they would kill Daryl? And if they do, it would have to be like a huge episode. Like it would have to be like a season finale or a season premiere with like when Negan shows up or something like that. Like the first appearance of Negan and have him be killed off then. Because otherwise, you tend to think more that they'll probably keep him on permanently because he's one of the only Season 1 characters. It's kind of like Peril at this point. If they kill off Peril, who's been there since the very beginning, it would have to be like it would be like a whole season-defining thing. Like I was surprised with Season 5 how they were able to get almost like the second half of the first half of Season 5 was like a Beth storyline. Like it was all about Beth was killed off at that point, and they used that they got a good amount of mileage out of that. It was used for like the second part of the first half, the last back half few episodes after the Hunters and Terminus and that, which was of course really exciting and everything. So that's a tough call. I would say the likelihood is probably that they'll probably keep Daryl on as a long-term survivor. I think it's a lot of the reasons we've talked about already. Norman Reedus promotes the series like crazy. He's one of the most recognizable people from the show. He's been there since the beginning, and I look at him a lot like Rick at this point, and just seeing him as somebody who, he's probably going to be a mainstay permanently, I would say. The only time I think we would have to worry about it is if people started feeling like seeing him kill zombies is going to get repetitive. And like I said, they could just tweak it. They could change it for that. They could give him a different weapon, or they could make his crossbow eventually break. Eventually, the damn thing's got to break. Like how many thousands of zombies can you kill with the same thing until eventually it breaks? He's already been through one crossbow prior, and thanks to Morgan, he has a second one now. But yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. I do feel like he's one of the safest characters in the show, and I would be really flabbergasted if they killed him off. It's not Game of Thrones. You're not going to see some of the deaths we see in Game of Thrones all the time where it's like, really? They killed off this character? No way. Did they? Really? They did? The Walking Dead is more about like the story, so as we go through, even though they want to keep it unpredictable to a degree, it's mostly about having the great story as well too, so, which requires Terminus to not eat and kill all of our main cast characters like we might see in something like Game of Thrones, which is goes the other way. Which is why I like that show a lot too, because you're not used to seeing the bad guys win, so to speak, and that's what's cool about Game of Thrones. Say what you want about it, love it or hate it, but it is at least interesting that the bad guys actually, if Terminus would most likely kill Rick and the group, they actually do kill Rick and the group. Like that's the way it actually happens. And then we follow Gareth and his cannibalistic adventures or something after that. So so let me know what you guys think. Do you think they would kill off Daryl, and do you think it's kind of getting repetitive what we're seeing with him? I would say no, I don't think so. Plus, you got Morgan in there. You got all this other stuff, and you got 16 episode seasons where they can kind of have Daryl be this this character where you have Rick for a lot of as the main protagonist. Daryl can be like your second, he can go off and have his own storylines, and he's useful in that way. So he's almost like a second Rick, so to speak, for the TV series, because they're doing more volume, 16 episodes, so they can have some that focus on Rick, and then they can have Daryl as his kind of a secondary character where they can go off and focus on him as well too. So it gives them that flexibility. So for that reason, I don't think we would see them kill Daryl off. For the same reasons, I don't think we'll see them kill Rick off anytime soon, unless the actor or something decides he's had enough. Who knows? Eventually they could, but I think they all love it so much that they're probably good for most of their career to stay, at least for another probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. When we get to about maybe season like 13, 14, 15, then we can see, people getting tired of the crossbow. Then we can see the actors starting to say, okay, you know what, I've had my 13 seasons or 10 seasons or whatever, and I've had enough. 6 seasons is, it's not that much. Smallville got 10 seasons. I always say that. It's one of my favorites. Smallville got 10 seasons. The Walking Dead can get pretty much as many as you want, 10 to 15, easy. The next question is from Fingolfin Nolofinwe, and he says, hello, Trev Mike here. Do you think this season will mark, and this is I also added this too, will mark the end for Daryl? I think this character was given a lot of screen time, and it'll be fair to give others a chance too. Thank you. And like I was saying, I see what you're saying, but I see it as 16 episode seasons are hard to fill. And when you have characters like Daryl or Morgan or Rick or any of these characters like that, they can really help with creating those extra tangent storylines like we're seeing in the trailer where Daryl's off by himself, and whoever that guy is could be a precursor to Dwight, or maybe he thinks Daryl is Dwight, which is something I've heard a good prediction for that I'll include in a Q&A pretty soon. Not who you think I am. Maybe that's what he thinks, that Daryl is Dwight or something. We'll see, but I don't think that guy's going to be the one to kill Daryl. No way. I just don't see that at all. He's too useful for the show and for, even for the Comic-Con and stuff like that. AMC posting videos of, what was it, the fan who was dressed as Daryl, Norman Reedus and that. He's too good at his job, man. Honestly, he's too good. He's just too good to see them kill off. I don't see it. So that's my thoughts on that, Mike. Awesome Guy Rock says, I don't know if you saw the MTV interview with some of the cast, but they were asked which dead castmate they'd bring back, and Norman Reedus said Glenn. Do you think he was serious or just joking? He jokes around all the time, obviously just joking. I don't think they're going to kill off Glenn at the beginning of the season, no way. Maybe he was talking comic books too, that's different, right? So Urbus TV says, man, when you really look at it, and I wanted to include this because I thought this was a good comment, he says, T-Dog saved Carol. Carol saved Rick's group. Therefore, T-Dog is the hero, a true hero of the series. That is true. Yeah, you're right. So actually, even though, by himself, T-Dog didn't seem all that useful, he did save Carol, right, from the zombies, and he sacrificed himself in order to do it. And then she, in turn, saved the whole group. So therefore, T-Dog saved everybody. So T-Dog is the unsung hero of the series, and nobody even realizes it. So great comment from Erebus TV. So I'll call it there for the Q&A for today. Those are my updated thoughts. Even though in the trailer at the end it looks like Daryl may be in some trouble, no, I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. Do you think they would kill off Daryl? I say no way. And if you like the video, please thumb it up. If you want to help support the channel, please share, please favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. And I do appreciate all those you who are new viewers and decide to subscribe. Helps me out. Thanks a lot, guys. Anyway, rate your comments. Let me know what you guys think. That's it for this one, guys. I'll see you again real soon. As always, it's Trev. Saying peace. Don't be a deadhead. Subscribe.